I found these fabric markers and they looked really cool and I wanted to try them out. So I went ahead and picked them up and I'm gonna test them out with you guys so that you guys can see what they do too and how they work. It says on the box here that they won't snag, skip, or bleed. So we will see how true that holds up. I have known markers in the past to just bleed all around. So we'll see how they work. I'm gonna use them with these stencils that I got from Plaid Crafts. I used a mandala last time in my testing fabric paints. So this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm gonna try these out on 3 different fabrics. I have a t-shirt to try them on, quilting cotton, and a canvas tote bag. So I'm gonna open them up first and show you what they look like. So this box has a nice wide range of colors, which I can really appreciate. It's got 2 blues, a purple, 2 pinks, a red, an orange, a yellow, a green, 2 greens actually, and even some black and brown. So that's cool. I'm excited to try these out. So on the box it says that there's no heat setting required and it works best on light colored surfaces. So everything I got today is white because I figured that they wouldn't show up very good on other things. Okay, and it says it's washable after 24 hours. So I'll leave these things for 24 hours and then maybe I'll throw them in the wash and see how they turn out afterwards. I actually do really like these stencils because they are adhesive backed. So all you have to do is peel off the back side of it and then stick it onto your surface that you're working on, and then the stencil doesn't move. I actually failed to realize that on my fabric painting video until I was about halfway through, and so my fabric paint kind of bled around a little bit, but once I discovered they were adhesive backed, they didn't. So now that I know that, I'm going to make sure that I do that with this one. All right, I'm gonna start with the smaller stencils on the quilting cotton. The only hard part about this adhesive backing is finding where it is to separate it from the main piece. But once you get it, you got it, it's good. All right, stick that on right there. Press it down to make sure it's all sticking to the fabric. For the heart, I'm gonna do some red and some pink, which we'll try a few different pinks. I actually kind of feel like that's already bleeding and it's totally going through onto my table. I should have expected that. I know that things bleed through and I'm gonna find something to set there so that I don't get my table all gross. Yeah, I already feel like that's bleeding a lot, which is unfortunate. But this is quilting cotton and it is pretty thin, so I kind of really expected that. We'll just keep going and try it out with the others, and then I'll pull the stencil off all the way and we can see what it looks like with everything off. Oh, that is darker. I thought that was gonna be a light pink. That is not a light pink. Oh my goodness, that's almost as dark as the red. Okay, does this not, this totally looks like it should be light pink, right? I'm not crazy. This is totally a light pink color. It is not coming out light pink on the fabric. Oh my goodness. I am glad to know that because if I wanted to use this on something and I was expecting a light pink, oh, I would be so disappointed. And if we look at the back side will show us that it bled a lot. So I imagine that's probably because this is such a thin fabric. So I doubt that'll happen as much on like the tote bag and maybe the t-shirt. Oh, that's so sad though. That doesn't even really look like the design, does it? So sad. Okay, now I'm curious about the t-shirt, and I don't have, like, we just saw how much it bled through on the other stencil and with the other markers. So I don't have any cardboard or anything right now, but I do have cardstock. So I'm gonna go get a sheet of that and then stick it between my layers so that the markers don't bleed through to the back layer of the shirt. And I probably should have ironed this shirt, but I wasn't that dedicated. So I'll just smooth it out the best I can with my hands. All right, and I'm gonna try this stencil and go around the base and see how that does. Okay, I'm really hoping that the t-shirt turns out better than the quilting cotton did. I was really bummed that it actually did bleed a lot, so we will try this out and see how it works. Okay, and I'm gonna go in with a black because I think that'll look a little bit nicer for this kind of pattern. Okay, because t-shirt fabric is made out of knits instead of woven fabric, it is catching a little bit, but I don't know that these were necessarily intended for knit fabric. But I mean, if you're gonna be drawing on t-shirts and stuff, that's all t-shirts are knit fabric. Okay, and with this, I am having to go back over it a couple of times to make it as dark as I want it to be. Otherwise, it looks like the threads are just showing through the marker. This isn't being as easy as I had hoped it would be. But like I said, I think it's because it's a knit fabric that is catching just a little bit more. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna start with a border on the bottom like that, and then maybe I'll move the stencil over and finish it. But we'll pull it off so we can see what it looks like. Okay, that looks a lot better than the quilting cotton did. Like a lot better. Yeah, I would actually be happy to use this on a t-shirt. It just, you have to be a little bit more patient. Like this one looks like it kind of bled a little bit more versus like these ones, but maybe I just went over that one a little bit more. You'll definitely want to put something underneath because it did bleed through. You can see it on my paper here, and you can see like the heavier dots, like where all the corners were. That's where the marker went in and it stayed for a minute and then it came back out, or it went back into the corner with it. So you'll definitely want to put something down between the layers if you do this. So I've got my paper in my tote bag, so it shouldn't be bleeding through, and I'm gonna try this here. Okay, so I think I will just do a little bit here and alternate colors here and there. Okay, I have got this part of the canvas bag filled in, and I am going to do the other side off camera because that took entirely too long, and I just don't want you guys to be sitting here bored. So I'm going to pull this off and see what we got. That's pretty cool. I like that. So it's something I noticed with the stencil is I left the black on there when I was doing the pink. You can see that some of that black actually came off with the pink. So if you're using this on multiple colors, the stencil, you'll probably want to wash it between uses. It actually seems like it works really well on the canvas. I didn't notice nearly as much bleeding with the canvas as I did like the quilting cotton. So I think fabric type will really matter depending on what you want to do with your project. But all in all, I really like how this turned out on the canvas. I think it turned out very nice. When I was filling it in, it took several times of going over the same spot for the canvas to actually absorb it. So I think that filling it in might work maybe a little nicer on the t-shirt depending on how much it gets caught on the t-shirt because it's a knit fabric. So that being said, I will finish the rest of these off camera and then I will wash them after 24 hours and then I will come back and show you what I have. So it has been more than 24 hours and I just washed these things this morning, so we are going to go check them out and see how they came out and what they look like. Okay, so clearly I'm not really in a state where I can try on the shirt and have it actually fit me. But I did want to show you guys how it turned out after washing. So I don't see any bleeding or anything like that. It kind of looks like the marker might have faded a little bit.
but not like a ton. So I'm actually pretty impressed with how well this stuck on there and stayed and didn't really bleed or anything in the wash. So I think that worked out pretty good. And the tote bag is largely the same. I didn't really see any bleeding or anything that happened bad with that. I think it's a little bit kind of like the shirt I just mentioned, a tiny bit faded, but not like a ton. But it's fun. I like it. It's a cute little tote bag. It's kind of a fun way to personalize things. And if you had stencils that were the alphabet, you could totally just put names on things and stuff like that. Like, I think the markers did a pretty good job. I also wanted to take a quick second and show you what happened to the quilting cotton. So I washed it as well, and I also went back with each marker individually and made a line to kind of test the colors out. So this is how that turned out. With the quilting cotton, I saw a lot more fading from the markers on the fabric than I did with the canvas or the t-shirt. So generally, I think with quilting cotton, these markers are probably not a good thing to use. But with other like thicker types of fabrics, I think it works pretty great. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into these markers. So after all of this experimentation, I'm happy to have them and I would probably buy them again. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you in the next video.